Take into account the fact that there will be spelling mistakes and probably punctuation problems.
I suppose you're talking about writing, because it's the only paper.
Yeah, about writing especially.
Well,
students spelling right.
It's not a rule. It's not a rule. It's not their best because we are talking about different things. Listen, children with dyslexia have some differences in their left hemisphere, which is about writing, listening, and some other skills. But it's not about creative writing. So perhaps in another seminar we'll talk about that. But yeah, it's a long story. I understand it's not easy to have some fair accommodation for students with dyslexia. It's not easy at all. Okay, that's why you see there are differences. Yes?
What should we do as far as teaching is concerned? Yeah. Not about the examinations.
It's the next step.
As educator.
Okay. What should I do as an English teacher? It was waiting for you, you see. Well, the first thing you are already doing, you are more aware. When you leave the room, you will know more about dyslexia, isn't it? I hope so, actually. Alright, so you need to be aware. And don't tell me how. Today you can be aware in many different ways. I will give you a list that you can start with books, websites, and laws. This is the beginning. Now, the next step is up to you. Learn about dyslexia and learning difficulties. You will certainly meet more students in the future. A huge variety of books and websites are relevant. And support your student. How? Do not exclude them from class. Try to make the class fit the child and not the opposite, as I said before. And a crucial rule, do not stress them. And when you see that a child has some problems following you, don't shout at them. Check the reasons why it happens. Read between the lines. Don't stress them. Give clear guidelines. Give chunks of work. If you tell them, okay, you have to learn regular verbs for Monday, all of them. Thank you. You won't get anything. Not even cut.
Is right to exclude him or her as far as the other students is concerned? For example, the example you gave about the irregular verbs. He or she who has a problem should be given a list of 10, for example, or 20 irregular verbs.
What would I do? If I saw that it would be difficult for George to do that, I would ask him to learn in chunks. Every lesson will have, that's what I do, 10. And another 10, and another 10. And it works.
How can you explain that to the rest of the class?
You don't need to explain anything, you are the teacher. Do not stress them. Give clear guidelines, give chunks of work, cut in pieces. Do not bombard them with long lists. See which parts they are afraid of and support them accordingly, offering advice. You are their solution. Come on. So if they are afraid of listening, you need to discuss with them why they are afraid of listening. Because they cannot follow and they don't have time to complete. Because in Michigan you listen only once and this is very stressful for them. Just ask them. Tell your students. Okay, ask them. You need to trust them. If you want to share the difference, you need to work on it. Praise them. They need it, but do not overdo it. Okay, just oh, what a nice, oh, you wrote, no. Okay, if it's something that you understand, they last month they had some difficulty, now they can deal with it because they followed your instructions, then you should praise them. As I said in the beginning, you need to build self-confidence. Okay, you build it gradually and carefully. They should not be hurt by failure. They should learn from their mistakes and go on. Keep in touch with a specialist. The fact that you start doing something with a child does not mean that you damage the bridges you built before. You still go on keeping in touch with the parents, the Greek teacher, the child, so that everybody understands that you care. And it's more efficient for your job as well. Does the Greek teacher see any improvement or not? Perhaps he should also cooperate, or she. Give them work related to ICT. This is very important. If you type National SEND Training Project, if you Google it, you will see that ICT is everywhere, from dyslexia to autism and ADHD. It's something that you love, and you should exploit this. In many classes in Scotland.
As a general group, all.
Yes, if you type what I told you, National SEND Training Project, let me see. Special education needs. You will find some 8-10 pages with different special education needs, and in each and every one of them you will see that ICT is suggested. It's because they are good at it, and this builds their confidence. So sometimes, actually in England and Scotland, they are allowed to bring their notebook to them. Okay, this is why I am suggesting this. Let the children speak for themselves. If you want to know what happens, you should listen to the child first. Not in front of the class, please. Not in front of the class. If we're talking about the private lesson, that's fine. If we're talking about the class, there is time to be with the child, 10 minutes, 15, and let him or her speak comfortably. You know, create a relaxing atmosphere. I want you to tell me what are the most difficulties you face? I'm afraid I have to run. What should I not do as an English language teacher? I should not go too fast. I should not give much copying from board and clean it too soon. I should not read test results loudly. I should not be sarcastic and reprimand them when they ask for help. Even when they ask for help from the partner, let them ask. You won't save anything if you don't. Don't make them read aloud in class. If this makes them feel uncomfortable, please don't do it. They're not prisoners, they're students.
How can we improve the reading if they don't try this class?
You can ask them to do this at home and listen to themselves while reading something. And not only their homework, can be a book, can be a series or whatever. Start trusting their voice.
Unless they want to.
I don't think they will. If you are cooperating, they will be, believe me. Yes. Yes, please.
Could I ask you for some suggestions on how to correct that dictation so at the beginning?
Well, I'm afraid I won't have time for that. We can talk about it later, but in general, there are some cases that on purpose you don't correct everything. Because if you make a pencil written page blue, don't expect too much, don't disappoint them, but you can talk about it with the student again. Okay, I mean, you have the words discuss in the first line with double S, and then you have it with one S. Why did you do that? Can you tell me a little bit about that? Were you confused? What happened? Were you stressed because you were running out of time? What? Yeah.
Is it good for students with this problem to give less homework?
Well, giving less homework when you work for an English school is not very easy. But if you give the homework we give everybody, and this homework is not returned, there's no reason to give this. We should give less, but essential. Okay. Lesson learned. Well, the student with learning difficulties or dyslexia should be a challenge for you and not a situation to avoid. Become a better teacher through it, not only for the child with dyslexia, but for the whole class. If the student has a difference, show you of it and become different as well. As I said in the beginning, it's a challenge for you. It is essential that children feel they get an equal amount of attention and are equally invited to participate in the life of the classroom. So, as I said before, they should not be excluded. There are many resources like books, articles, the legal framework in Greece and in other countries as well. I gave the example of Scotland because Scotland has done a lot on dyslexia and learning difficulties, and I'm glad to be in touch with these people, because I think they have done quite much more than in England. There are many websites. I have some here. I will deliver them, but I will give you my mail as I said before. This is the page I will give you. Okay, I understand, but you will be given in paper. Because I don't have so many photocopies, you can email me and I will send it to you. This is my mail. I'm sorry to cram some information because we were running out of time. Dyslexia is a subject that needs hours and days, and there are many questions. And I understand that you may have many questions leading this room. I can answer whatever you like. You can email me. Thank you very much for participating.